What's going on, everybody? This is JK from the Baseball Rebellion, here to give you this week's breakdown. And today, as I often do, I like to mix it up between old school players, new school players, and softball players as well. And today we're going to do a breakdown of Lauren Chamberlain's swing, and currently playing for the USSA Pride in the NPF. And man, it was tough to find Pride video of her swinging, to be honest with you. There's a lot more college swings of hers where she was Player of the Year and hit 95 home runs as a player there for the Sooners, which is incredible. And we're going to take a look at why she was successful, at least then, and hope we'll see if it's carrying over, hopefully, in the pro level. Like I said, I searched for video, and maybe if you're listening to this and you find some, let me know. When you find it, I can do like a follow-up video of her swing now as she plays for the Pride, which is still putting up pretty good numbers. But we're going to look at this home run that she hits, and we'll play it full speed for you guys real quick, so you can just kind of see it in real time. Okay, and that ball is clear out of there. And if you watch the rest of the video, I just kept it short for this swing. It's not only is it out of the park, but it is over the fence, the initial fence. It's like out of the whole stadium. You can see the pitcher's reaction, like immediately defeated. The catcher doesn't even really get up. Watches the ball. You can see the pitcher's face as they get up. As the ball is in the air, and doesn't even turn to watch it. She knows it's gone. So we're going to take a look at her swing, and a couple of things I want to point out here. Some of the questions that we get, especially from softball and baseball alike, but softball as well, is really like when do I start my loading process? And if we watch the picture here, we can really point out when you can see Lauren start to move her body. You can see her start to rock back now. So before here's the ball in the pitcher's hand, and the pitcher had just started pulling the ball back and up. So you can see how Lauren starts to kind of change her posture, maybe rock back a little bit, and kind of get into her back hip a little bit even there. And she really starts to pick her front foot up when the pitcher starts to come up off the ground. It looks like with that front foot. Okay, you can see her front foot in the air right there. So we go back. You can see her really pick, when that front foot's coming at Lauren, she's starting to move and kind of turn in a little bit now. So she's getting even more loaded, which you can see from evidence of, number one, you can see the wrinkles in her jersey, really. You can see her elbow come back behind her. If we really pay attention back here, you can see that elbow start to come back, pulling her hands back. You can see her front shoulder turning in a little bit. So you're seeing all these things that she's doing to prepare herself. Now, what are we preparing ourselves to do? And usually the word is hit the ball, or the phrase is hit the ball that I get from most players, and that's false. We're getting ready to turn fast and snap, and really think about turning quickly down behind us and behind the softball. And whether or not she knows that's what she does, that's what she is doing. And sometimes, a player might have a certain word they like to use, like approach or something like that. Bottom line is she's rotationally turning inward into that back hip that she's preparing to fire. Just like a mousetrap, we're kind of getting that coil load, that spring loaded up, as also she starts to shift her body weight forward. Now, I don't have the side view here, but you can see her kind of work away a little bit from that back foot right there, and as the ball is coming in. She doesn't have a leg kick or anything like that. Like I said, that's a personal thing that players either seem to like or don't. But she does have the little bit of the turn of the toe in, really, because again she turns her hips. You can see her kind of turn her back pocket a little bit more towards the pitcher at this point when the pitcher starts to let the ball go. You can see her start to move a little bit more. And then as she starts to unwind or uncoil, you can see her heel go down, and heel go down kind of more open. So when she gets her foot down completely, she's more in fair territory. She's not completely open towards the pitcher, and that's okay. We like to practice being open more than that, but if we land like this in the game, we're going to be pretty happy about how we're landing. And the really cool thing about this view, the front-on view, you can really see her numbers, right? You can see her turning that back, but she has a clear head. She's not turning her eyes too much, which a lot of players do, especially off of a tee. But it's that coil. I mean, she's got this jersey on, and you can see it really wrapping around her body here. This is really cool. So her heel's in the ground, but let's take some notes. You're starting to see her pockets really disappear backwards towards the umpire. They're going to rotate back and around. I can actually grab a line here. It kind of curves back and around towards the umpire. At the same time, she's creating resistance by holding her front shoulder in and that back shoulder back even longer. She's creating a lot of resistance and torque in her obliques and her core muscles. And then almost like I said, like a mousetrap, she coils and then lets it go. And this is where you really see that bat speed pick up. Not only are you seeing it pick up, you're seeing it pick up down behind her shoulder. So anyone thinking that you want to go straight to the ball with the barrel is very, very misunderstanding the kind of where bat speed is created. And bat speed is created down behind her back shoulder, right, so that the bat can get in the way of the ball. So Lauren gets the bat in the way of the ball back here in front of the catcher's mitt, something I always like to point out in videos. A couple other things to take note of. Her head position stays pretty much the same all the way through contact. She looks like she comes up maybe a hair here, maybe a little forward through the turn, but for the most part her head stays behind the ball. You can see again the shoulder angle drop here. You can see their back shoulder go down. So a lot of people think softballs are flat. You can see the pitch kind of peak and come down. I'm not sure if this is a changeup or not. This is definitely a missed opportunity or a missed pitch. You can see the catcher kind of tap the ground here, and then she decides to slide back outside and she leaves it out over the middle of the plate. But a good position overall at contact here. You're going to see the slight, the downward angled shoulders here. So she's really tilting in to her right side. Now remember, that doesn't happen at the point of contact. All that is set up back here. Back here is where the magic happens. That separates the good players from the elite players, and the terrible players from the good, and so on and so forth. Is what you do behind you. At the point of contact here, you can see the belt opening as well. You can see how open she is to the field. If you watch her back foot, you can see her back foot kind of move. Now this is more of a sliding back. You see Chris Bryant do this, and that's probably because she's in a little bit closed, maybe on her front side, at least with kind of a little bit closed off, not just opening, or excuse me, not the front foot, just kind of like her body angle towards the second baseman a little bit. But ultimately, the back foot moving is a sign of athleticism and explosiveness, and that's something that we want to see. But again, you can really see her opening up, and I really love the shoulder angle here, because everybody talks about softball how you want to be flatter and more down to the ball, and it's just not the case. And again, everything coming up from behind the ball into the catcher. Now, what I will say this: you can see her eyes behind the ball, head position's great, like I said, good inward tilt right here. You can see her tilting in on this line. But what you're going to see and notice here, and this is crazy, is like watch her bat after contact. You're going to see the bat, kind of glance sideways and down, kind of across her stomach more as she gets through the ball. So what that tells me is that she's doing some stuff maybe at the point of contact or maybe earlier that is actually less optimal than we want, and this ball went out of the stadium, not just out over the fence like into the stands. It cleared the metal fence of the park in right center, which is crazy. And so what I think about is, man, how much further could she have hit this ball? This is a glancing blow. You can see her get behind the ball and then like pull her arms across the ball this way. Again, resulted in a homer. Great job, homer time, like RBIs, runs, 95 home runs. What I'm thinking is this ball could have been hit 50 feet further or 20 feet, something we don't know exactly, but I know that optimal contact isn't across something, it's into something. So what we like to see, again, as a more optimal contact, is the bat kind of keep going up the same way as the ball, and in a perfect swing. And you can see her hands and her arms. You can see the word Sooners on her jersey, right? You can see her hands and the knob kind of down here below everything. Below her jersey right there, and that's just gonna that just means that there's some stuff happening kind of at the point of contact where maybe she made an adjustment or something like that to maybe get the barrels of the ball. Obviously, regardless, it's gone. It's a homer, but it's just one of those things where we look at swings from an optimal standpoint. Not necessarily did it go out, but was the swing best? So like you see sometimes Josh Donaldson or Trout even or guys like that miss hit balls and not take maybe their best, most optimal swing and still hit him out. And so, yes, the bat went down after contact maybe. It doesn't mean he tried to swing down or she tried to swing down. It just means that, they're talented, strong players where, hey, you know what, even if they miss the ball sometimes and their contact is poor, they still hit the ball out. Doesn't mean that's what we should practice, though. That means that sometimes talent and size and athleticism can cover up some flaws, just like the old bats in baseball used to cover up a lot of flaws. Sometimes size and like I said, just pure grit, intent. I mean, she has a lot of intent in her swings, and she talks about that a lot when she trains, is training with intent. So sometimes in softball, those fences are only 220 feet, maybe 230, right? So that's going way out. But ultimately, her power lies in her ability to turn in and stretch and turn out. I mean, you can really see her hips really turn. Look at that. Look how you can see the reds. If you really pay attention to two things, pay attention to the red belt and the white stripe on her jersey right there. Watch this. You can really see how there's that turn in, turn out of her hips. Meanwhile, that white stripe on the top of her jersey isn't moving much until now, until her hips, especially her back hip, catches that back shoulder and then like a slingshot pulls it around. And that's where her power really lies. It doesn't lie in her wrist. It doesn't lie in her arm strength and her upper body strength and necessarily her leg strength. It relies on her ability to coil and then uncoil. Coil in as she moves forward a little bit. She doesn't take a huge stride, and that's okay. You know, huge coil in, massive coil out, and you can really see, again, the jersey being the telltale thing here is you can see the wrinkles in her jersey here and here kind of around her core. So if you're a hitter or a parent, you're watching this and you want your player to have more power, one of the first things we got to teach players to do better is separate their hips and shoulders. You can see her hip just flying out this way while that shoulder's still kind of at the ball, and you can see that's where, and she times it up. Obviously timing is a big part of it, but that ability to coil in and then uncoil at the right time is just where you see the best players make their money. And then on top of that, phasing into the upper body stuff, getting the barrel down behind her shoulders. So the barrel's not working across her shoulders to the ball, it's working down behind her shoulder to get behind the baseball, or excuse me, behind the softball early. Okay? So there you go. There's Lauren Chamberlain. That's where she's good. You know, that's the thing. That's why she is good. That's why Aaron Judge is good. That's why Josh Donaldson is good. Not because they're big, not because they're athletic, but because they're able to use their body the best way possible, optimally, and get that bat in behind the ball and lift it in the air and avoid ground balls, right? I mean, obviously, you don't hit 95 home runs hitting the ball on the ground, that's for sure. So anyway, Lauren Chamberlain, great swing, a good person to watch if you're an aspiring softball player. And if you're someone that doesn't believe that the baseball swing and the softball swing are the same, you're seeing it right here. This is a swing, whether it's baseball or softball. Hip and shoulder separation and barrels going down behind the shoulder are what makes a baseball player just as good or a softball player just as good at the highest levels. That's how that's done. So if you have any questions, please contact me or us, baseballrebellion.com. You can find me at JK Whited on Twitter. Ask me questions about this video, but she's a good person to watch if you're trying to develop good power from hip and shoulder separation.